Yeah, I couldn't, honestly, tonight and tomorrow, all day, I can't do anything.
All right, we'll run it.
Today morning would have been good, but it's all good. You guys go ahead.
All right, bro. I just wanted to make sure.
Thanks for checking, bro. Appreciate you.
All right.
You guys have a good time.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
I'm LA.
And on that note,
welcome to, man, I've been trying to like think of like, you know, like Klingon. I've been trying to do like clean on, but like I don't know how to make that fit. I wish I knew Klingon because it's a real language, or like it's a fake language. That's like
have you watched Star Trek, Adam?
no, dude, Klingon's real. I think you can actually study it.
Yeah, Klingon's like a full language. Anyways, welcome to the Clean On podcast. Today, I'm joined by barely anyone at all. Mally and David have decided to abandon us today. However, I've dragged Adam into it, so it isn't just me yapping for, I don't know, an hour until Bray, who was here as well, tells me to shut up. And today, we're going to get maybe a little personal, maybe a little gross. We are going to be discussing how we train through sickness and injury. And this is a topic that pertains quite specifically, at least to me and Adam. For those that don't know, I am quite injured, running on like about a year now. I think it's been like 13, 14 months of what has now become just excruciating nerve pain. And Adam has been dealing with less injury, more illness. And, you know, I won't speak on his behalf, but he is here today to speak on his own behalf. So, Adam, do you want to let us in on what you've been struggling with and give us the little background on that?
Quickly before Adam gets started, just a quick disclaimer if anyone's listening, if you are squeamish about the topics of like blood or anything in the sense of like, just proceed with caution. That Adam, take us away.
Thank you, Bray. I appreciate it. So I think a lot of people in the powerlifting community know that I've been dealing with some health issues. They got really bad before nationals in 2024. Then I got better, then they got worse, etc. And I haven't really talked about it in specifics. So I had to muster up some courage to finally speak on it. And I think the reason initially I was so hesitant on talking about my struggles with my health is just, I think I just don't want to seem weak. I don't know. I'm in the old mentality of sickness means weak. And I didn't want to make any excuses for why I couldn't perform or be a good powerlifter. So I kind of just kept it to myself and tried to move through it on my own. But through some conversation with Nick and Mal and some other, you know, with the team in general, I guess it could be productive for other people to hear about it in case, hey, maybe other people feel like I do and they're dealing with some health concerns and they don't feel like comfortable talking about it, etc. So that's what I'm going to do today. So I have a condition. It's an autoimmune condition. It's called ulcerative colitis. It's very similar to Crohn's disease. That's more widely known. So Crohn's is like you're dealing with inflammation throughout the entire GI, right? From like the intake to the outtake of the system. Whereas ulcerative colitis is more just like the bottom of the GI. And it just causes massive amounts of inflammation, ulcers, etc. And when it gets bad, there are, you know, ulcers that can rupture, stuff like this. And that's exactly what I was dealing with going into 2024 nationals. I had what we call it was a flare up, right? Because it comes and goes. It's a forever thing. I was having a really bad flare up and I was just wrecked. I mean, I don't want to get into the specifics of the condition. If you really want to look it up, you can. But I was just dealing with massive amounts of blood loss to the point where it's like, it was concerning. I was off to the hospital frequently just to make sure that, you know, my levels were good. I wasn't losing too much blood. I wasn't completely cooked. But it was stressful. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been dealing with and trying to manage to the best of my ability so I can continue powerlifting and pursue my goals of hopefully being at the World Championships once again and performing better than I did last time.
Yeah, so let's really just, I think we can hone in a bit on that nationals, right? 2024 Nats. Because I think for me and you, even though our reasons were very different, we approached the meet with very similar circumstances in a way, right? Just don't even know if we're really going to show up anyways, and we get it done. And I think we also have like a similar mindset and mentality towards it, where even though we understand why we fell short, I know that you feel the same way on this. We still did fall short, and like the ego there bites, right? So even now, you are downplaying a bit the severity of the condition you were in. I think that those people that did manage to watch 2024 Nats might understand better, given how you were passing out constantly. But given that I was in communication with you, I know how often you were in the hospital leading up to the meet, right? Like you weren't like at home in your bed sleeping and just trying to get over this. It was, I think the majority of that meet prep, you slept in a hospital bed, right? Like, which isn't ideal.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal. But no, I did keep the situation pretty quiet. Honestly, like, I feel a little bit guilty about it now, but I kept it from a lot of people for a long time, especially during that prep, because I thought if I started telling people, then it would become more and more real and I wouldn't make it to the competition. So there was points where it's like, I was in the hospital and I was like, I didn't tell my girlfriend. Like my parents didn't know I was there. I don't know. I just didn't want to put it out there. I didn't want to be the person making excuses. And I still feel that way. That's why it's a little difficult for me to talk about, because I don't want it to be a reason for why I didn't succeed at that meet or why I can't succeed in the future. But yeah, no, I was wrecked. I was getting blood work constantly, going to the hospital, I have a new symptom show up. I was like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, it was serious for sure.
Well, why do you think like you did hide it so much? And like, I know that you don't want to get maybe too personal. We'll give you like a safe word. If it's like too much, just say like clean grip. But like it is an ego thing, right? But
sure, yeah.
Do you think that that ultimately benefits you as an athlete, or like what's your sort of position on this ego that like is so clearly there? Like we won't deny that it's there, but like, do you think that headstrongness actually helps you continue to train and to show up to the meet? Or do you think that maybe like, how do you struggle with that? Because I feel like it must be a struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, even when I was at my most sick state, I always feel like I'm capable, right? Like, I think I'm destined to do something big in the sport, even if it takes me a while. But I think just the stubbornness is because it's like, this isn't an excuse. I don't know what that comes from. Like, I don't know if that's from growing up, but I feel like downplaying it was just me, like, I don't know, just keeps me pushing forward in a sense, but I don't know where it comes from. I'm not sure.
I'm speaking for myself here. Do you think that in a sense there's like a self-denial that almost gives you like a self-preservation? Because I know for myself, I almost try to tell myself and everyone around me I'm not that injured. And if they tell me that I am, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Right? Because if I get it in my head that I'm broken, I'm not going to make it to the meet. But if I get in my head where it's like, this is minor, it's not that bad. It's like, Nick, I just saw you like fail 2 reds on deadlifts. It's not that bad. Don't worry. Maybe it's this.
Maybe it's this. Maybe the reason I didn't talk about it is I knew people would continue to hold me to a decent standard. They would have expectations for me at the competition if I'm not like dwelling on how messed up I am. And I think the byproduct of people still having these big expectations for me to perform, even though I wasn't doing good, kept me pushing.
Because then you wouldn't.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, yeah, I'm sick, but like I'm trying to downplay it a little bit. So people still think I'm going to like try and put on a show or try to win the competition. And I think maybe that was set up purposely by me. Like maybe if I'm really thinking about it, that pressure is kind of what kept me moving forward, especially through the bad sessions. I guess I do thrive off of pressure, and maybe that's the reason I don't want to talk about it too much. Is just like, I do think I'm capable, and I want people to believe that I am capable, and that helps me show up to the gym. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because like if that pressure isn't there and people just expect you to fall short, that's like I can just fall short, right? Because it's like that's the expectation given, right? Am I reading that right? Where it's like, okay, if everyone expects me to do really bad, and then I just do really bad, no one's going to be disappointed in me. So there's no more fear. And sometimes fear actually acts as a good motivator. Like, I know that we've talked about this before, where it's like, at a very high level, it's not so much about the joy of winning anymore. It's the fear of failure that really pushes you, right? So you can almost always keep that in the back end, like a wolf that chases you. And it's just, you need to keep running lest it catch you. But if you admit that, like, I'm already broken, I'm going into this, guys, don't expect anything from me, that fear dissipates and that motivation runs dry, right? Because we also don't have that motivation that, like, we're going to have a super meet, right? Because we're not totally delusional. I know going into Nats, I was like, I'm going to be very lucky if I hit like 790. And I just need to hope that everyone else doesn't hit 790, right? But like, I'm not going to have the best meet of my life, right? I'm just going to show up and try.
Do you want to talk do you want to talk a little bit about what you were dealing with going into nationals?
Yeah, so for nationals, it was specifically like my back just felt shot. And the range of motion in my left leg and hip was just gone. So like, I could barely get down to the bar to deadlift, let alone actually pick it up, right? Like, there was just zero force output through my left leg. And the pain on my lower back at this point, because now it's nerve pain, it's transmorgified through the years at this point, or not through the months at this point. But it was just extremely painful to the point that I was taking so much ibuprofen that I was talking to like Sean Noriega, and his wife is a veterinarian, and he was relaying the information to her, and she was like, "You need to tell Nick to stop taking ibuprofen because his stomach's about to like perforate." Like, I was
you're gonna end up like me.
Yes, and she DM'd me and she was like, "Nick, you got to stop." And I'm like, "I need just like a little bit more. I got to make it through that." She's like, "Is it worth it?" And I was like, "It has to be," right? Because it's like, I don't know, I've already gone this far. Like, I think the most I had pulled leading into that comp was 170, and it was like rough. And then I opened at 330 to jockey for position because I was like, if I don't hit 330, was it 330 or who gives a shit? It wasn't enough. Just like, if I don't hit this, I'm not going to win anyways. And then, I did really poorly, but I showed up because I also knew that you were showing up. I knew that Caffey was showing up, and I didn't know the circumstances Caffey was going through. My survival mindset is just that, like, look, I'm suffering, but Adam's also suffering. Hopefully Caffey's also suffering. I don't necessarily, I like Caffey as a person, but hopefully as a competitor, he's suffering. So that way we're all going into here on like equal footing, and you can't win if you don't show up. And I think that that is like something that always resonates in my head, that like, if you don't show up, you've already lost. And you can like show up, and sport doesn't care if you've had a bad peak, if you're injured, if you're sick. You have to show up to the best of your abilities, and it's the first step. And if I can get that first step done, at least I have a chance of, winning, right? Getting to Worlds, getting to that next step. And if I fail to do that, then, to be frank, I haven't thought that far, because it never occurred to me that I could just not go, right? I think at some point, you get so deep into the sport, into anything that like you're deeply committed to, that there isn't really that alternative out. Maybe you play with it a bit, but it's never beyond that point, right? I definitely played with the idea of like, I'll just not go to nationals. But then what? And I never thought that far, right? And I think that's part of like surviving the process. Is you'll always play with the idea, you'll flirt with it, but it's never like, okay, I'm gonna not go to nationals, and then I guess I'm just gonna quit. I'm gonna move on with my life. Like,
what does it snowball into, right? Like I mean, at our stage, right? We've been powerlifting for like 10 years now. Like, the odds of us showing up to a meet and feeling perfect are becoming more and more slim, right? Like, we'll have meets where we show up better than other meets, but if we don't go into one meet, does that mean maybe the next meet's not going to happen either if we're not feeling great? And then the next, like, what does it snowball into? Right? Like, is that the first time you quit and it's going to compound and turn into you quitting more and more easily. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
show up, you don't give yourself an excuse to quit, and you're going to show up to the next one, etc.
Yeah, like you just, and I know that me and you have actually talked about this like personally a bit, where it's like you just do hard shit for the sake of it because it like builds you as a person, and like sometimes showing up is just the hardest part. Like frankly,
Right.
with Nats, getting there was hard. Once I was in it and I was floating on ibuprofen, it was just lifting. It was just competing. I like doing that, right? It was getting there that was the hard part, and like I said, we've talked about it, and it's like, yeah, it's an ego thing as well, but I think it does build us as people to just, you do the hard shit because, right? That's like a mindset that I know that you've adapted. You're very like, you know, vocal on it, to some people, at least to me, where it is just, you have to do hard things.
Yeah.
Right? And
I know I wasn't there on the last episode. And I think Nick kind of struck home with what I would have said too, is like, I don't think there's much purpose outside of things other than picking something that's really difficult and trying to overcome it. Right. I truly do believe that that's one of the main purposes of life. So yeah, it goes with that 100%.
yeah, like it sucks for powerlifting. Like being injured or sick, it makes the actual act of raising your total way more difficult, nigh impossible, right? But outside of that, like what powerlifting teaches you, it then becomes an opportunity to really grow from that and learn from that. Like, Adam, would you say that like about yourself, and fuck, you might just say no, but like, would you say like about yourself through this period of like getting through all of this, right? Struggling with your illness, that is, you know, frankly, especially with the life that you have, life-changing, but then continuing to still train, grind, struggle, continue with CSF, start clean grip. Has this not been like a pivotal moment in your life in terms of growing and becoming, which I know I say all the time now on this fucking podcast, but I think it's going to become a motif of sorts. It's just this state of becoming. And does this not help you do that?
No, I think about this a lot, actually. And the ultimate lesson I think I've learned from this is just patience, right? Like before I got sick, I was very like, go, 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 like chase everything now. But it didn't always work out for me. And I think becoming more patient throughout this process, because I was forced to become more patient, right? I didn't have total control over all variables now, has actually helped me tremendously. It's funny that you mentioned clean grip in this, because the same goes for growing a business. Like I've always been very entrepreneurial, right? Like I've always been very motivated to start a business. It's what I felt like I wanted to do practically my whole life. And previous to getting sick, I'd go at it really, really hard for like a couple months, but then I would, you know, pivot away or start with a new idea. Whereas I got sick, learned the hard lesson of patience is required for good outcomes. And then I worked on clean grip very, very quietly for almost a year, like to the point you guys didn't know I was really working on it, right? I might have mentioned it a little bit. My girlfriend didn't, no one knew, right? I was approaching it with the same patience I had towards my lifting. And this is the first time that it worked out. Like starting this new thing really worked out for me. So it was actually during the period where I got sick where I started working on this, and I don't know, it's been an awesome experience so far. But yeah, I think ultimately it taught me a lot of patience and to just slow down, maybe keep things to myself a little longer and just continue chipping away at it. And I think that's conducive to becoming a great powerlifter, right? So I think it set me up for success in the future, especially in those phases where I'm not going to be sick, right? Like I've learned patience through the periods where I will be sick, right? Like managing expectations. Maybe there's some things I need to manipulate in training, but I'm looking forward to the periods where I am healthy, right? Like my body is cooperating, and now I have this newfound patience. I have this newfound strategy for navigating through my training. I'm very excited for that. I haven't been well enough consistently to really take advantage of that, but I know the day will come, and I'm very excited for my future. with, you know, the new mentality I have, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like I'm not going to go so far as to say that, like, I think you would have been a worse off lifter if you hadn't gotten sick, right? But there's definitely like a lesson to be learned in like every struggle, right? Like that's, I think, the silver lining, where as long as you are willing to take something from it and then you move forward with it, I don't think that any sort of pitfall or like, you know, drawback is ever that truly just pure negative, right? It isn't going to just entirely bring you down. You can always take something from it, right? Even the minor stuff, right? Like even in training, the minorest little like tweaks, sometimes that teaches you a lesson of just too much volume or something like that, right? But then more major stuff like this, yeah, it does teach you a lot about life and how to navigate it and how to become a better person. And, you know, I that term is maybe a more efficient person at minimum, right? You will learn something from it. You will grow from it, right? And you've done that. And now look, best chalk on the market. This wouldn't have happened without I forgot what it was called.
Ulcerative colitis.
I was going to say ulcerative
colitis. Yeah, ulcerative colitis. What qualities do you think you've picked up on through this most recent struggle with your? I can almost call it a flare up too. Like, what do you deal with, bro? Like, have you picked up on anything new that, you know, Manders a year and a half ago didn't have, like new qualities, anything like that?
I've had to like really look in myself, like look within.
Introspection king.
Yeah, I don't want to say that like I've become more spiritual, but I've definitely, you know, approached this entire process with like this sense of there will be something more to this on the other side. And like to some extent, I have done a lot of learning for the sake of this, both in terms of, you know, physiological and like how the body works, but also just, you know, spiritually and emotionally. And like I've read a lot more shit than I usually do, just trying to sort of keep my like ship clear, right? Like I need those lighthouses to guide my path. And a lot of that is sort of like, you know, philosophies that I've read more of. Like I've done a lot of reading, and would I have done that if I was just healthy and carefree and I could just train? Likely not, right? Maybe to some extent, but I wouldn't be looking as deeply into, you know, I'm looking over at Moby Dick right now, right? Because I've been reading that. I know I started reading it a while ago. If anyone's wondering, it actually keeps up to date with what I'm reading. And they're like, why have you not finished it yet? I had to return it to the library. And then I had to go buy my own copy. Anyways, I'm reading it with the sense of like, I understand Captain Ahab a lot better than someone that is not struggling would, right? Dude lost his fucking leg. And I'm like, I lost my leg. I get it. I want to get my get back. I want my revenge. And the only way to get that revenge is to just commit yourself fully to something. To not, you know, people always say like, you got to be willing to like die for something. And I'm like, that's a little silly. But you have to be willing to live for something. And I think that that's a mentality that I would only have really adopted for powerlifting had I not gone through due to going through these struggles, right? To really live for something, to like wake up and not feel utterly hopeless in the idea that like, when I wake up, I have to pee and I have to limp to the bathroom. And if I didn't have this beacon of hope on the other side that I will still become a high performing athlete through powerlifting, through this vessel that I've chosen, surely I would have gone insane at this point. I would have limped and gone, this life is drivel. Why am I doing this? Right? But because I have this opportunity for get back, because I have this white whale on the other end that I can still hunt down, I go piss with vigor because I know that I won't limp one day and I will limp again. And I can wake up every day regardless of the pain, but with a lens of positivity, because I understand that it's not just about getting back to a normal of just not feeling pain, but it is about becoming even more than I ever was, right? And that is a lesson that I don't feel like I would have been taught had I not had gone through this. Because previously, I have gone through some pretty excruciating injury, right? Like early on in my career, I had a pretty similar levels of sciatica, but I was like 18, 19. And when I did get back to powerlifting, I did it as like, there was a meet in Calgary and I was like, fuck it, I'll do it for fun. And then I caught my bug again. But it wasn't like, when I was going through that injury, I was just deeply depressed and I had nothing to really ascertain from it. It was just like walking to and from university courses, just like, this sucks. This is the worst time of my life. Very lonely, very isolating, and, physically disabled, basically. But now I approach what is very likely a similar, if not the same injury, with just a new perspective and a new paradigm on things where I'm not happy that I'm struggling, but I am happy through the struggle because I am learning more about what it means to do anything, right? That very much relates to the last episode, but you have to struggle through things because life is ultimately a struggle, but there is fun in that. We must imagine Sisyphus happy, blah, blah, blah. Lame. But it's true. Maybe, depending on who you ask. You have to be happy in the struggle because it's what life gives you, and it is such a joy to be alive. I don't know if that even answers your question. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying anymore.
I don't even know what my question was.
Have I learned anything with this injury? Like, yeah, I've learned that when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
Yeah, I think one thing we can both agree on though is like we both think we still have a future in the sport. I truly do believe that as well. I will get there. I know you will get there. When I am back on the world stage, it's going to mean so much to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like going through the struggle means so much. And funny enough, it's kind of like a little bit of a trend now, but do you know those like, there are these AI generated images and it's like a night with some scenery behind it and like some motivational quote.
Yeah, like the music in the background is like doodle.
I saw one today and it was like, someone born in a garden doesn't appreciate the flowers, etc. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, you need to go through some struggle. And then when you finally do get to where you want to be, like, dude, I know I'm going to be on top of the world. I can almost visualize it. Like as I'm talking about it right now, it makes me excited. So I believe good things are coming and that keeps me going as well. I'm grateful. I'm going through what I'm going through now. I'm learning as much as I can, but I will get past it. I just know how fucking good it's going to feel when I get to where I want to go.
I think we can get some key takeaways now for like the audience, for anyone that is struggling through injury or illness. The silver lining is that no matter what you're going through, if you introspect through it and you do think about it and you are willing to learn from it, you will gain something from it, right? There will be a perk to this experience. If you remain hopeful, you can get through it. If you lose hope, it's obvious, right? But sometimes it still needs to be said. If you remain hopeful, you'll get through it. If you lose hope, you're just going to be in pain forever. Was it who's that dude that does Family Feud? It wasn't him that said it, but someone of that nature was once like...
Steve Harvey?
Yeah, was it Steve Harvey that was like, if you're in hell, why would you stop? It wasn't him. I feel like I've heard him say it.
There's no way Steve Harvey's dropping bars like that.
Who said when you're in hell, don't stop? Because then you'll stick in it or some shit. Was it Steve?
I know
Steve Harvey said it at one point.
Yeah, no, it's Steve Harvey. Can I put up the clip?
Right.
Yeah, my screen.
Nah, it's fine. Anyone can Google that. Steve Harvey. But yeah, when you're in hell, don't stop, right? Like it's obvious that people will do it anyways. And that hope can be that once you do get through something like this, the reward is so much sweeter than if you had not suffered. The suffering ripens that fruit of success so much more than anything else could be. And if you are to give up, you'll just never get to experience that overtly ripe fruit. And what a shame that is. What a shame it is to live a life where you don't get to taste those grapes, So maybe suffering is just the key to experiencing life's greatest peak. You need that deep, deep valley to then oscillate into that insanely high point. Maybe that's some hope that you need.
Where are you right now, Nick, in that
I'm coming back up. I'm coming back up.
Are you on the way back up from the valley?
I have made more progress in the last 4 weeks than I have in a very long time. That being said, last time I said that, I started a block of powerlifting and then just completely shit myself.
Maybe there's a couple valleys there.
It's sort of an oscillation, but I've never lost hope, and I've definitely not lost hope yet. And I do think, stars align. 2026, I think we'll both be healthy, and I actually hope that Caffrey is too.
Yeah,
I would like us to have a showdown like 2023 Nats, where was it 2023 or 2022?
No, 2023. It was exciting.
Yeah, I want us to have another showdown like that where we all show up ready and healthy and like good to go. Every meet up to that point, one of us or more have just not lived up. Let's not talk about Moose Jaw. 765.
Which Moose Jaw? What are you talking about?
But if we are healthy, I think that it'll just be great to be healthy again and compete again. And that genuinely is something that I hold on to as, there will always be a light on the end of the tunnel. Yeah. Just ignore Slavoj Zizek when he says that it's just another train coming your way. Just ignore that part. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Just take it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to showing people what I actually am capable of at a meet. It's been a while since I've been able to do that. So I'm excited for that. Now, you know me, I'm a little bit more objective with what I like to talk about. So maybe we can pivot slightly into, okay, someone is dealing with injury or they just got this life-changing autoimmune disease, if you're me. How have you adapted training to keep on going? What did you change in your day-to-day sessions? What have you done?
Okay, so for me, because it is more injury based, right? There's more specific qualities I need to actually control, because I think that'll be a good thing to pivot off of you from, because yours is more interior sort of, illness based. So I feel those things are different. But for myself, because the ranges of motion that I'm able to access are very limited, the sort of motif that I hold on to is do what you can do because it's all you can do, right? So find what you can do first and then just hammer away at that, right? For a long while, even right now, I can't really load my back too much. So barbell squatting, barbell deadlifting, out of the question. I can do belt squat. So I'm just going to hammer the fuck out of belt squat. I've always been able to bench through this. I have put almost 20 keys on my bench, through this process, because I can do something, right? If I was to just give up entirely, now I've, hit this point where when or even if I do get better, I am just completely behind. Whereas as is, I actually feel very confident competitively, because even if I just get back to where I was strength-wise and lower body for squat and deadlift, my total is still increased nearly 20 kilos because of my bench alone. So if I just continue to do what I can do, not only am I doing my rehab process, but I can continue to drive up other aspects of my training that not only keep me sane, but keep me in the battle, right? Because the second that you kind of just stop everything, right? This is a race, right? If you just stop lifting entirely to try to heal, someone else will just overtake you. Whereas if you at least continue to try to keep pace and just continue to keep your spot, maybe you're not going to overtake other people. You surely aren't, but at least not as many people are going to just start outpacing you because you just pulled yourself out of the race, right? You just got to continue to do what you can do. I think that is the biggest thing whenever you're extremely injured, is just find out where you can continue to progress and hammer away at it like it's normal training.
Right.
What about you, Adam? Because it's different when you're just sick. And
so the biggest thing that I've had to adjust to is just obviously when I'm fine, like when I'm not dealing with like a flare up or something, I'm normal. But when I was really sick, like the biggest thing was just like my energy levels were just completely depleted. I had no energy to get out of bed. So the biggest thing for me was show up and manage expectations on the day. Try to do something, but don't be stupid. Like don't overexert yourself if your body's not prepared to do it, because then it's just going to cascade, right? Then the next session is going to be horrible. My energy's already low. If I overdo it, then I'm wrecked for the next session. So I think it's just been being a little bit more mindful with how hard should I push my body given the circumstances of that day. And they vary a lot day to day. So I guess maybe like you were saying earlier, maybe that's forced me to be a little bit more introspective. And the big thing here is learning to be a little bit more honest with myself, because I am a very stubborn person, right? Where it's like, previously, even if I wasn't feeling great, like I'd still try to hammer it. But I've needed to be a little bit more honest with myself so I can sustain consistent training, if that makes sense, right? Like, what am I capable of on the day? And at least do that, because that's better than nothing, right? Which is very similar to what you're saying as well.
Yeah, I think no matter what, it'll always boil down to like, do what you can do. I think a lot of people, they'll just be like, well, I can't perform comfortably or at like my highest, so I'm just out. I'm done. It's like, thankfully, I actually think that those people have become rare. Like, you don't see it as often, but you'll still see it occasionally where it's like, I feel beat up, something hurts, I'm done. It's like, you're just never going to make it, right? But I do think that like most people nowadays, maybe even just through stubbornness and a desire to like not really admit defeat in a sense, they will just continue. But then I think, along your end, they will just push too hard, right? They'll almost, because they don't want to admit defeat, because they want to be like, I'm not that injured. Kind of similar to what I was like going into Nats. They'll just put themselves into that cycle of just making things worse. Maybe not per se like GI inflammation like in your case, but just even like, re-aggravating an injury of just trying to get back to where you were too quickly and not being patient with the process of just, it's going to take some time, right? Like sometimes you are on a timeline. Like that's why, especially when I go into a meet and I'm injured, it's like, don't talk to me about it. Like, I'm going to rush things. I'm probably going to hurt myself. I'm going to gamble with it because you're on a timeline. But if you don't have a timeline, you need to accept that it'll take as much time as it needs. Not as you're willing to give it, but as much time as it needs to just do its fucking thing, right? You are unfortunately sometimes on your injury or illness's schedule, right? And that sucks to like relinquish that control. But if you don't relinquish that control, it controls you. Which sounds oxymoronic, but I'm trying to sound cool.
As always.
As always.
Yeah. Yeah. Like just an example of like what Nick's talking about. Like I've seen some people at the gym who are like, oh, maybe they're dealing with a back injury or something as well, or some nerve pain. And they're like, benching with my feet down hurts. Okay. Can we Larson press? No, Larson press still hurts. Okay. Can we do a hook lying press? Maybe that's still uncomfortable. Okay, can we do a machine press where we have a lot of added stability? Our pelvis is in a little bit of a different position. Oh yeah, I can do this. All right, cool. Go crazy on it. Yeah. Right. Let's see what we can do next week. Can we Larson press? Oh, cool. Larson press is a lot more comfortable. And we slowly work back up. So it's like dumb it down to the basics as much as you need to. There's always an option. Like I can't stress that enough. There is always an option. Nick has been showcasing that a little bit on his like Instagram story and through some of his posts. There's always an option. Once you find something that you can manage, now we slowly creep back up from that, right? So it's like, or another example is like, okay, I have no range of motion in my hinge. All right, like if we have to do a block pull, we have to do a block pull, but let's slowly start working back down towards the floor, something like that, right? Find something that works. And if you can't find something, you're misguided or you're dumb. Like it's just as simple as that. Like you don't have to, maybe you don't know, seek out help, someone who can provide that for you. Or you're just dumb or you have no grit, and that's not my problem. I'm not here to solve those kind of issues. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you don't want to
overly stubborn. Like some people, they just want to touch a barbell. If it's not a barbell, I don't want to do it. It's like, you got to grow.
But again, that's not our problem. Like if someone can't, humble themselves let go of the ego a little bit and find something that does work, then that's on them, right? Like I can't control that.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta step away from the barbell. I want a barbell squat more than anything. It's not good for me right now, so you just gotta step away from it, right? It sucks. It sucks. Like, but you gotta do it. You gotta do stuff that sucks. You're like, if you are in this process, the whole process already sucks, except a little bit more suck. Right? It's fine, right? But some people will be like, that sucks too much. Everything sucks. I'm done, and they just give up. And it's just, yeah, it's not productive, right? You have to remain productive. You have to do what you can do, right? That's the big thing here. Is just do what you can do. It's all that you can do, right? Beyond just giving up.
Yeah. How bad do you truly want it, right? Like, if you want it, figure it out.
Yeah, a lot of people be like, I want to get out of this pain so bad. I don't want to do lunges. I'm willing to do anything. I'll go to a physio and pay $200. I'm not going to do the exercise that they prescribed to me, though. Nor am I going to do any machine work. Are you out of your mind?
Blows my mind, man.
Yeah, if you actually want or willing to do whatever it takes, Rich Piana style, sometimes that means doing mundane, boring, unexciting shit. Everyone's willing to do whatever it takes until it's boring, right? Sometimes it's what you gotta do. You have to take it slow. I think that does that more or less I guess if we really wanted to, we could get into exact grading protocols for some things, but I think that's better for an informational post, right?
Right.
Because you were talking about, maybe from if we want to just approach injury and illness from a pure physiological perspective and how to actually get back to it, like you said, Adam, limited range of motion, find out what you can do, slowly progress back through it. That can sometimes even just look for very simply, if we can't deadlift from the floor, high block pull, medium block pull, low block pull, yada, yada, yada. It's not very good podcast material, so I think we mostly covered the mindset, though, the base physiology of it. It's really me and Adam have gone through a lot, especially in the last couple of years regarding powerlifting and regarding my injury, his illness, and we've learned a lot from it. And I wouldn't say that I'm happy I've went through this. I am grateful, right? I wouldn't want to go through it again. I'm grateful that I went through it the first time, and I think that to some degree, I doubt Adam is grateful he's going through it, but he's probably grateful for the lessons that he has ascertained from it. And I think that anyone going through something similar, any kind of injury, illness, pain, setback, whatever, you can find something to be grateful for through it. And I think it's incredibly important to do so, right? We need to find some solace in the suffering, whatever that may be, wherever it may be. And in saying that, I think that closes out episode, I'm never going to remember, it's 6?
Yeah, 6.
6. Episode 6 of the Clean On podcast. I will come up with a better name maybe next episode. And hopefully also have all the coaches back. I did actually say last episode we were going to talk about anyone that submitted their whys. Someone did submit their why. I don't know. Do you want me to bring it up? I don't know.
Yeah, let's go for it quick. Let's do it quickly.
Okay, real quick. I'm gonna pull it up fast. Anyone at this point has already pulled off of this episode. All right. Their why was similar to Mally's. They weren't athletic growing up, and PL was their first sport. Was always picked last in phys ed, so it's mainly about proving himself to others that he's capable. Did one meet as a junior and then turned 24 2 months later, and spent a while regretting the fact that I stepped inside the gym for the first time in 2016, but I was 16 and an idiot back then and gave up after 3 months and only stepped inside the gym again after COVID in 2022. Finally accepted I can't change the past and just have to focus on the present. And then he sent me a photo saying,
dude, I love the shift from third person to first person when he was writing that. It was legendary.
No, that wasn't him. That was me reading.
Oh, I was gonna say that's crazy.
Nah, but I'm happy he stuck with it, and I'm happy that he was able to ascertain something from our whys in our episodes. And I actually want more people to send me their whys because I think it is cool to see other people's perspectives. But next episode, when we have hopefully all the coaches on, what are we discussing, Adam? What are we going to talk about?
I don't know. Find out next time. I don't know. Should we make an Instagram? Should we make a story and see what people want to hear us talk about? Maybe we can take a topic from the audience.
Nah, that's lame.
Is that crazy?
Let's talk about, is Star Trek or Star Wars better? Which one is your favorite? I like Star Wars because Battlefront 2 is really fun.
Let's talk about why men shouldn't wear crop tops.
You're so mad right now, dude. You're so angry, dude.
I had no idea until now. I didn't know.
Dude, it's hot. It's so hot out. I want to wear like a full shirt. Alright, next episode, why crop tops? They're actually not even in anymore, man. It's performative. It's done. Alright. Bye.